Hey guys, welcome back to Jazz's Tutorials. I'm Jazzy, and today we're going to be talking about my workflow when I'm editing AMVs. So the steps I take when I'm starting my workflow in Premiere, and then moving elements over into After Effects, and then rendering the final piece. So let's just get right into it. First off, organization is key. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set up our folders. So what I'll do is I'll go into my folder, and so we'll make a new folder, and we'll call this Workflow AMV. So I'm gonna make one new folder, and I'm going to call this Projects. Next, I'm going to make another folder, and I'm gonna call this Scratch. Scratch is for the scratch disk. You'll see how we'll use that in a few minutes. All right, another folder is going to be Exports. A folder with footage. This is where we'll be putting all of our anime footage. A folder for music. And lastly, a folder for graphics, GFX. Sometimes I make an assets folder if I'm going to be using like a lot of pictures or something like that. For this, I'm not most likely gonna have any additional assets other than the anime footage. Sometimes if it's a big project, I'll also have an assets folder. So now that we have those folders created, we're going to add our anime footage to the footage folder. Next, we're going to open a new Premiere project. So let's open up Premiere. When you open Premiere, this little window is gonna open up, and it's gonna ask you whether you want to open an existing project or start a new project. For this tutorial, we're going to start a new project. We're gonna browse the location here, and we're gonna navigate back to our AMV folder. And now you see we have all these organized folders here that we just made. So we're gonna save this into projects. This is our main project file. So we're gonna save this here. Next, you're gonna switch over to Scratch Disk. And this is where we're gonna save into our Scratch folder. So this is gonna contain all of your auto saves, any recovery files, if your project suddenly shuts down. So I'm gonna save those all here in the Scratch folder. We're just gonna do browse, choose, choose. Do that for all of these until they're all saved in the same place. And now we have opened Premiere. First things first, we're going to import our anime. By the way, when I download animes, it's usually MKV format, which with my computer, I can't edit with MKV files, so I always convert them to an MP4 file. And this is the software that I use to convert my anime into MP4. It's called Handbrake. You can download it online for free. I have a preset here that I use, and you can kind of see the settings here if you wanna copy them. Okay, so now we're in Premiere. We have 3 episodes of Fate Grand Order. So first, we're gonna make a song cut. I rarely edit a full song. So we're gonna go into File, New Sequence. And this will probably be our main sequence, so I'm just gonna also call this Workflow AMV. And we're gonna take a listen, We're gonna see what we can cut out. Also, when you're cutting 2 different parts of the song together, where the 2 clips meet, you may have this weird break in between that you hear in the audio. And to help get rid of that, I like to use an effect called constant gain or constant power. Try both of these and just see which one sounds better. And usually this helps it transition over a lot better where you don't hear that break in the song. So it's not as obvious that you clipped these 2 pieces of the song together. Okay, so now that we have our song cut, we're going to start needing to look for clips. It is time for scene selection. Now to do this, I like to go through the anime and pick out the very best clips and lay them all out on a timeline. Every time I'm looking for a clip, I can just scroll through my sequence of all the clips that I know are good and that I like and would want to use. When you're scrubbing through, there's usually this really annoying audio, and I hate listening to that when I'm scrubbing through clips. So to fix that, what you can do is select all of your clips here. We're gonna right click, go to Modify Audio Channels. Just uncheck these to turn the audio channels off. And yay, no more annoying music. Woohoo. Okay, so I just finished my scene selection. Just a really rough, raw cut that I did. And now we're going to move this into After Effects and we're gonna do some effects and we're gonna polish it up and make it look good and make it look like an actual AMV. So I'm gonna open up After Effects. So what you're gonna wanna do on your timeline, you're gonna wanna drag and select everything on the timeline that you're going to be working with in After Effects. And I'm gonna do Command C on my keyboard, or you can go to Edit, Copy, same thing. And we're gonna go into After Effects now. So let's make a new project. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to save this into our project folder. So if you remember, we made the project folder here, and I'm gonna save this into GFX folder. And I'm gonna title this the same thing I've been titling everything else. Workflow AMV. Next, we need to make a new composition. So we're gonna go to Composition, New Composition. Now, on my keyboard, I'm going to press Command V, or you can go to Edit, Paste, and hopefully everything will paste over. Usually this works pretty well, the copy and paste. The only time where I sometimes see a little bit of error is if I've done any time manipulation in Premiere, like if I've sped up or slowed down a clip in Premiere, it may not paste over perfectly. Like I see like a gap here, but it's like really minimal. I mean, you can just drag that out. It's fine. So everything looks like it dragged over, and if I see something that didn't, I can easily go back into Premiere and just copy in that particular clip. So from here, I would just start editing my actual AMV now. Go in and add in any kind of visual effects I want to do, any kind of masking, any kind of color correction. I will do all of that here in After Effects. We're gonna speed right through that. And if you wanna see the full edit of this video in After Effects, I have another live editing video coming soon that you can check out. All right, so it's been about like a day later now, and I have finished everything on my timeline here in After Effects. So the next step is moving this back over into Premiere, because that's where I prefer to finalize my AMV and do any finishing touches and make sure that it's synced up with the audio well. So what's going to be important is we're going to want to export this at the highest quality possible. Make sure that it's lossless, which when you go to export in After Effects, it already does that for you pretty much, unless you change the settings at all. So we're going to make sure we have our entire timeline in and out points selected from beginning to the end. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue. And here it is right here. My After Effects automatically gives me this lossless setting, and I don't usually change it. I'm gonna specify where I wanna save this. I'm gonna save that here. And from there, you're gonna press Render, and we're gonna let that render out. Usually for longer videos, I work on shorter sections, like 10 to 20 second sections, sometimes even shorter than that. And I'll work with those smaller pieces in After Effects and then export out those smaller pieces, put them in Premiere. Then I work on the next small piece, put that back in Premiere. So then I'm not usually gonna be waiting as long as I am for this. Like I did the whole AMV in one section here in After Effects, which I do not usually do. So yeah, I would also suggest, just breaking it down into pieces. So we're gonna let that export and we'll get right back to it. So we're back in Premiere now. We're gonna import our After Effects render. So I did actually render these earlier as smaller segments, so the file names are different, but it's the same thing. So we're gonna import these. Okay, so we're going to take our new files here. I'm gonna double click it and just drag in the video portion of it. And I'm gonna drag it on top of my editing work. And this is the full length of the video without the credits. So now we have our timeline now with the After Effects version. Like you can see, if I turn this off, we have our original clip. And if I turn it back on, we have our new clip. Pretty cool. So now if you want to go through and make any changes, like if there's something minor I can fix here, like this, I noticed I forgot to flip this horizontally. He should be looking in the other direction. So I'm going to split that up. Cool. Now we have our video. All right, so moving on to exporting in Premiere. This is our final export. I do not do anything super special, but I will show you my settings. I will go to File, Export, Media. I'm gonna choose the H.264 format. Preset, start with high bitrate. And here we can change it up a little bit, make sure it's match source. Render at maximum depth. Make sure you have a check mark of this. This is going to make sure you get the best quality. I do a double pass for the bitrate encoding. Then I change target bitrate to 12 and maximum bitrate to 14. And then lastly, I'm gonna use maximum rendering quality, and I'm gonna turn on use previews. What that does, if you did any rendering in to out while working in Premiere, you know, to view your project without any lag, you can actually then, when exporting, use those previews to help export your project faster. And I'm going to save this into our exports folder. See, remember we kept all these things organized. I've already rendered this out earlier, but we're gonna do this just as an example. Save, export, and yaddy daddy. And we're done. So I'm just gonna cancel that because I don't actually need this. And yeah, so that was my workflow tutorial. I hope that you guys got something out of it. Maybe if anything else, it can help you learn to be a bit more organized with your projects so that you can, you know, work more efficiently. But yeah, I want to keep making more tutorial videos. I have some ideas for some other things. Leave me any questions or suggestions in the comment box, and like and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. I know I don't have a consistent schedule yet for uploading these, but if you turn on the bell notifications, then you'll get notified for when I do actually upload one of these. So click the bell. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.